And welcome back to Fourth and Pain, the only pro wrestling show to be hosted by an NFL player and a weight loss champion. He's Redskins defensive end Adam Carricker.
Howdy.
I'm former wrestling announcer turned weight loss champion Chuck Carroll. This here is Fourth and Pain. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Fourth and Pain, like us on Facebook, and whatever else you do with your day. Make sure that you have lunch with us at high noon Eastern on fourthandpain.com. New shows each and every weekday. Low calorie, high energy.
And daggone it, people do like us.
You're daggone right they do. And Adam, it is time to award the Fourth and Pain Championship for the week. This week, absolutely no debate. Who's it going to be? Surprise, surprise. He's up for Rookie of the Week honors for the NFL as well. Kirk Cousins, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us.
We appreciate you coming on, man.
What a whirlwind week you must be having. How does it feel to be getting all this attention?
You know, it's been a good week. It's been obviously pretty busy since the Ravens game and then going through the week up into the Browns game. And a little bit more pressure on me this past week than normal, but we tried to keep things as normal as possible. And it's been a lot of fun. And it was neat to get my first career start in the NFL and be able to get a win and play well was icing on the cake.
I remember my first start, my rookie year, and I remember the butterflies and the emotions that I felt. What were you feeling leading into this game and the whole week? I don't know when you found out you were going to start, but how did you feel leading into the game, this being your first start?
Yeah, I knew there was a strong chance that I would start early in the week, and as I continued to get reps in practice as the week went on, I felt like it was looking like I would start, but didn't find out officially until Saturday night. And I had a lot of butterflies throughout the course of the week, and they just intensified as the game got closer. But once the game got going, you realize it's just football, and you've done it for a long time, and you just have fun with it. And fortunately, some great play calling, a tremendous job by our defense. It really put me in a position to be successful, and all I had to do was throw to the open guy, and we had a lot of those on Sunday. So it was a great first start.
We're speaking with Kirk Cousins here on Fourth and Pain. And Kirk, who was it that actually told you were going to start? Was it Kyle or Mike Shanahan, or who was that?
Well, it was officially done during the quarterback meeting on Saturday night in the hotel in Cleveland. Nothing had been officially decided, but at that point, I had been getting most of the reps in practice and felt like there was a strong possibility I would start. And at that point, they just told me that Robert was not cleared by the doctors, and as a result, he won't dress, and Rex will dress, and I'll dress, and Kirk will start. So that was Saturday night, but I had a pretty clear indication prior to that it was going to probably go in that direction.
Now, everybody is pointing to your long touchdown pass, I believe it was to Leonard Hankerson, that 54-yarder kind of turned things around. Talk to me about that pass. Did that really give the offense that spark that enabled you guys to then roll off 38 points?
Well, we were only down 7-0 at the time, but because of our lack of offensive production up until that point, it felt like we were down by a lot more. And with the way that we struck so fast on one play to get back into the game, it made it 7-7. Suddenly we were right back in it. And so it made for a great way to get back in the game and get some confidence going. I think it did give our team a lot of juice. But again, our defense kept us in it. So when we did a slow start, we didn't get too far behind.
This being your first start, and you played a whole game now, you got the whole game experience under your belt. What would you say is the biggest difference between playing at Michigan State College and playing here in the NFL?
Talk about how the game is faster, and I think it is faster, but I think more than anything is that the players are smarter, and so you can't fool people. You don't get away with freebies as often. You don't get lucky as often. You really have to be on top of your game every single play and be completely locked in. And I realized how much of a demand it is to start in this league and perform at a high level week in and week out over a 16-game season. It's just extremely demanding. And I think playing the Big Ten, you definitely have a taste of that. But it just goes up one more level when you come to the NFL, and it really tests everything you have every week. And only the smartest and only the toughest are going to survive.
I would agree with that. Everyone talks about the speed of the game. I remember my first practice. I saw the center I was going against. He basically looked like a bigger version of the Penguin from Batman. He had a big old nose. He was old. He was about 40 years old. I saw him in the weight room struggling with 225. I'm like, I'm going to kill this dude. First play,
Right.
He drives me 10 yards off the ball. And he got
Exactly.
his hands. Yeah, he got his hands in perfect. He twisted me at just the right time, and I'm like, "What the heck just happened?" So there's a lot of technique and a lot of mental stuff that goes in as well.
Hey, Kirk.
There's no doubt. It's attention to detail and being intelligent, and that goes a long ways. And you don't always have to pass the eye test if you know what you're doing as far as being a crafty player.
We're speaking with this week's Fourth and Pain champion quarterback, Kirk Cousins. And Kirk, I don't know if you've seen this leaked out in the media just yet, but your buddy Chris Cooley has let the world in on a little secret about what it is you say right before you call every play. He says you are a big, quote, team guy. What is the fascination of yelling team before every play?
Well, it started in college at Michigan State in the playbook. They wanted us, in theory, to say team when I stepped in the huddle, just to make sure communication-wise there was nobody who was talking while I was going to be about to say the play. Well, even our Michigan State coaches said it's a little silly to expect that every time. You don't have to do it, but I'm one to go by the book, so I actually did it my whole career, said team before every play. When I stepped into my first Redskins huddle in OTAs in May, I didn't know any different. I just felt I got to have it. I got to do that. And on top of it, learning a whole new vocabulary for these plays, the last thing I wanted was to start to say a play and have someone else talking, and then I have to repeat it, and I probably would say it wrong. So that was my way of basically saying in nice words, shut up and listen, because I don't want to have to repeat this. And so my way of doing that is stepping in and saying team. And I think just about everybody on our team thought that was pretty ridiculous. And not only that, but the fact that I keep doing it just makes them laugh.
Hey, as a quarterback, I was a quarterback in high school. You got to get command of that huddle. And hey, if that's your way of doing it, that's a great thing to do. Now here, I want to talk a little college football because our alma maters played. And I don't want to, brag at all, but we kind of spanked you a little bit in your house, and you had to you had to wear a Nebraska shirt all day. Now it wasn't my shirt, it would have been a little baggy. But talk about that. Talk about, I believe it was with DJ Gomes and how all that came out to play.
Well, so it was a great game, back and forth. Cut to Nebraska. I just wish they would have won that Big Ten championship game. But
thanks.
they do beat us fair and square. It's a close game at the end. And that next Monday in the football facility, DJ comes up to me and hands me a shirt. And it's a nice shirt, a nice material, and I like it. So I open it up and it says Nebraska football. I thought, oh, okay. So I put it on that whole day, and then I put it on the next day, and I felt like that was good enough. So I wore it for a couple of days, but I'm always looking at the positive side. And the way I see it is he hasn't asked for the shirt back. It's really comfortable. So I've actually worn it, truth be told, several other times, and I'm going to continue to wear it, and I got no problem with that. So until DJ asked for it back, I think I won it on the deal because I got a free shirt out of it.
I have no problem with that. I think that's a great idea. You're just becoming smarter as you grow in the NFL. That's all that shows.
No doubt. You got to be crafty. You got to be crafty.
Yeah, I remember taking a picture of you wearing that shirt and coming back because we were taping Fourth and Pain that day. I had to show it to Adam, and he thought that was just the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Absolutely.
It fits me well. I just don't know if I can wear that shirt on Michigan State fans anytime soon.
Well, let's give you a chance to endear yourself back to the Spartan fans. Let's get your opinion here at the Buffalo Wild Wings Bowl, Michigan State versus TCU. Have you had a chance at all to give any thought to this game, how this one might play out, and pleased to be taking the homerism out of what it is you're about to say?
Well, when they decided what time the game was going to be played, December 29th, and it's a late kickoff at 10-something at night, my first thought was, am I going to be able to watch it? And so it's the night before our game against the Cowboys. It's a late kickoff. I'll probably be in bed right about when the game is kicking off. So it's not the best timing for me in my situation, but I have thought a little bit about it. I had a couple of Michigan State teammates who drove over to Cleveland on Sunday for the game, so I was talking to them a little bit about TCU and their opponent. But apparently TCU has a tremendous defense, and it's going to be a challenge for our offense. But I'm excited for them. I think it's a neat opportunity to play a good Big 12 football team down in nice weather in Phoenix, and hopefully I can tune in for a little bit. But I'll probably be having an early bedtime that night for good reason.
No doubt. And we're speaking with Kirk Cousins here on Fourth and Pain. Of course, Kirk, this is a pro wrestling and football hybrid show, so we can't let you go before asking you a little bit about pro wrestling. I think that when we had you on previously, you had mentioned that Goldberg was one of your favorites. I believe Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Undertaker as well.
The Undertaker. True. Did you know, Kirk Cousins, that The Undertaker is likely going to wrestle again this year at WrestleMania?
I didn't even realize that. My experience with The Undertaker goes back to when he took on, I believe it was the Ugandan Giant in some massive stadium way back in the day. And I remember his entrance was just really impressive. He came in on the back of a hearse, and they had the organ playing, and it got your blood pumping. So it was a pretty cool entrance, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's pretty tall. I want to say 7 feet tall. That sounds a little crazy, but from what I've heard, he's pretty tall. So I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's right around that 7-foot mark, and he's 20-0 at WrestleMania. He hasn't lost in 20 years, so he's got this streak going. Now, who would you predict if you were one of the people, head guys at WWE, and you had to choose somebody to break this streak? Who would you choose to break the Taker streak at WrestleMania?
Good question.
You're talking about one of the best of all time, The Undertaker, and he's 20-0. You either got to have some young guy coming up beat him, or you got to have some other legend beat him. You can't just have an average guy beat him. So as far as a legend in his era, I think you got to look back at maybe like a Hulk Hogan or a Goldberg or Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't even know how many of those guys are still trying to go, but you got to get a big name or some kind of young up-and-comer.
I like that. You have a natural propensity for wrestling psychology, Kirk Cousins. This will serve you well in your post-NFL career in 10, 15 years, however long it is that you're playing. WWE should have your resume on file.
That's funny. Talk to Vince McMahon and get back to me.
Oh, yeah. He and I are best friends. We text back and forth all day.
Oh, me too as well. We were actually talking about Tebow earlier this week. Join the WWE. What if you and him were a tag team? Could you two just dominate the WWE as the quarterback tag team duo? I totally just made that up.
If we were a tag team, I think I'd be tagging out pretty quickly and deferring to him and letting him do his thing. So I wouldn't try to hog his spotlight too much because I want to win. But if I had to be called upon, I'd do what I could in the time that I have.
I like it. Kirk Cousins, we are fresh out of time, but we greatly appreciate you joining us here on Fourth and Pain.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
This is Fourth and Pain. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.